All right. I'm going to cut right to the chase. Don't plan that. All right. Was that page 50? I guess I'll start off on page 56. Oh, shit. Okay. 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 There we go. Intellectual property and giving them to someone else or stifling its release. Yes and no. This is a common tactic. This is 56, by the way. Used to increase the target's frustration, and it obviously can be done, but the handlers are more interested in the target's creative defensive measures and how the system can counteract the defenses. This is the majority of intellectual property that they are stealing from citizens. Mind control, so of course they will stifle the release of books on this topic and torture you more when you are more vocal. Are they blackmailing me? Unless you are in a political position or have ambition to become one, it is an empty threat. They will threaten to set you up by local authorities, but generally this doesn't happen. It is usually just an empty threat that the intelligence agencies give, like, we will kill your family if you tell anyone what we have done to you. Neither George Bush Jr. nor Obama know what is going on in terms of how their draconian policies are actually implemented and abused. They are merely figureheads and puppets. They get blamed for their administration, but they are clueless and programmed. The idea of threats is to increase the target's stress and panic. The police will not believe you, and there is nothing they can do to protect you from a technology this sophisticated. They would have become scientists and not police officers if they could understand it. There are many pawns in this war game. What does crazy mean to the average person? Crazy as a word is generally used as a discrediting word by those who do not want to do the research to understand how the person of interest they are discrediting things. Let me read that again. What does crazy mean to the average person? Crazy as a word is generally used as a discrediting word by those who do not want to do research to understand how the person of interest they are discrediting things. It is generally a word used by lazy thinkers. Many famous geniuses were classified as crazy by their colleagues, such as Einstein, Edison, Galileo, and hundreds of others by lazy thinking people. I don't know why all of a sudden I'm coughing. Most of these types of people who use the word crazy were those who it took 300 years to make them believe the earth wasn't flat and square. They exist today in the same proportions of the population when discussing technology. They wait to see it on their hype no tube and see what those around them believe, being emotional or unorganized. But before I move on, this part here talking about like this guy is like a perp or something, because we all know that the world is flat. Like actually, it's not a globe. If anything, it's not a globe. But because all of our radar systems are all read off of a flat plane. They all use a flat plane. They don't use a round plane when they're using radar systems. Like I said, planes don't use a curved radar system. Submarines don't use a curved radar system. So this guy's full of shit, in my opinion. But okay, he's given some knowledge, but like that stuff right there, that's pretty effed up. Said I'm gonna stop swearing. I mean it. I want to. But man, this is actually crazy that he says that. Like they always do this. They always have to throw in the fact that crazy people are people that don't think the world is round or something. Most of these types of people who use the word crazy were those who it took 300 years to make them believe the earth wasn't flat and square. They exist today in the same proportions of the population when discussing technology. They wait to see it on their hypo tube and see what those around them being emotional or unorganized thoughts and irrational beliefs. It appears that when the average person uses the word crazy, they mean something they don't understand. In some subcultures, crazy means to be eccentric or wild. According to the DSM manual, I didn't want to take this off the headband, but it's giving me a fucking headache. I had it on all day. I had it on all day. Just move it up. So I'm just gonna make it a stupid ass stalkers outside. All right. Awesome. Percent now flat facility as a type of mental health. That sounds more like sociopathy. Perhaps those behaviors that are against a person's best interests and survival instincts, such as charitable acts or being a soldier, is considered mentally ill and crazy. They kicked me off the camera on the other side just because I'm reading. They only do this when I read. They only do this when I read. In this book, it says that's a punishment. Are you ready? Okay. Okay. We're back. Alex, you're back. You're not the only friend that was wearing red. Today we got Zag wearing red too. Such a demon. Such a demon. My longest lasting friend out here. I'm here. All right. We'll keep going. Hey, Vodka. Hey, Boris. I hope you two are not wearing red when I click your cameras. Oh my goodness. Classy's mad funny. All right. We're back somewhat. Playman. Doesn't he look like Hagrid? Playman? Am I wrong? Your guys' cameras are fucking spinning. Of course. What a weird phenomenon. What a weird COINTELPRO phenomenon. Okay. My feet up. My feet up. That sounds more like sociopathy. Perhaps those behaviors that are against the person's best interest and survival instincts, such as charitable acts or being a soldier, is considered mentally ill and crazy. Unfortunately, in today's age, people who don't understand extremely low frequency, microwave, and biological resonance weapons believe that victims of such weapons are crazy when they talk about them. The, the psychiatric community gets classified as crazy with the targets they are going through, and anyone who speaks about weapons is conspiracy theorists. Understand the propaganda, the people who partook in this system. Jill's cameras come back? No. Do you want me to feel alone while I'm reading this book? I think they are slandering me, are they? Slander can be done whether government sponsored or not. Generally speaking, because they will not do that, it is believed that friends and family notice you acting paranoid and your language can cause them to act differently towards you. What is the worry about slandering? Job loss, loss of social networks and supporting groups. But it is also a primitive drive about reputation and pride and legacy of family name. They prey off of all fears. Remember, they study pure evil according to the human construct. Paranoia. Anyone knows book opening clamps that I see in this girl's video all the time? I love them. I want to get some. I can hold the book open better. Paranoia is purposely induced through brain entrainments and organized stalking and other gaslighting techniques. The internet has created an open things up using slander and libel. When they generally there isn't anything you can do about it. It would be difficult to sue any of them. Be sure not to release personal information on the internet. The trolls will use any information against you to slander you or steal your identity. You will want to tell your life story on the internet, but leave out specific information. One technique trolls and stalkers use on the internet is to use slander in hopes you will feel the need to respond out of anger, thereby releasing more information about yourself and be used and about yourself to be used against you later. Being on radio, I feel like this was like a simulation because I said TI radio. Being on radio or the internet brings you into the spotlight. This is a decision that every TI must make. The more often your name more you will become a target. Even from to bring light to what is going on. There is power in numbers, but you are damned if you do and damned if you don't. Many TIs suspect that subliminal messaging about their character is done to their friends and family or possible employers What can you do about it? Sit a good friend down and ask them if they have heard anything. Google yourself on the internet. I suspect most of the suspicion about slander is from B2K. Remember that no one is exempt from others' opinions. Imagine if you were the president. Half the people always hate you. People misunderstand intentions and communications all the time. Remember how many rumors you heard about some of your personal relationships. It would be difficult to prove someone is going to your potential employer and libeling you unless they say something. One of the best things you can do is to volunteer and let people know slander falls off of people with good charitable works. Most people who believe the target assume that he deserve it. She sinned in some way. This is called shame, the shame game. Remember that the majority of people are still in the matrix of the propaganda and lies. They do not know what is going on. You must see it for yourself. Morpheus from the Matrix. Yes, highlight that. Know, know thy audience when speaking. One type of speech to communicate your circumstances does not necessarily work for every audience. Why is stress used? The CIA claims it works. All other studies, it without proof. The CIA claims, but the powers that be do it in the Pentagon and CIA helping the USA lose its software and the moral high ground, which it had for many policies now in danger. Many doctors who betray their oath to do no harm decided that if the target are more likely to talk. This is the basis of Bush's and Cheney's torture school philosophy. What I'm highlighting is the doctor's oath to do no harm. Many doctors, my doctor did this. She betrayed me after 15 years. Anyway, just because she got it. In terms of brainwashing, the programming, the strategy is very different to change a loyalty and alignment from one flag and tribe to another. Every human being, a religion or other, we have long-term memory, split personalities to avoid the trauma and make the split personality remember how painful it is, but works with years of torture, capabilities, effects, and technology questions. What are some electronic assault systems? There are many common symptoms of DEWs, directed energy weapons, microwave weapons, and EEG induction weapons, bodily pains and sensations, Tourette syndrome, bee stings, projection of odd sounds, limb jerking, sleep deprivation, headaches, teeth pain, eye pain, heat, genital assaults, heart palpitations, etc. In the lab, even parts of the brain can learn some electronic assault symptoms. This was important to me. There are many common symptoms of DEW, directed energy weapons. microwave weapons, and EEG induction weapons, bodily pains, sensations that have no human experience, analog, fatigue, involuntary speech like Tourette's syndrome, bee stings, projection of odd sounds, limb jerking, sleep deprivation, headaches, teeth pain, heat, genital assault, heart palpitation, etc. In the lab, even parts of the naturally occurring illnesses and those induced by technology. All illnesses can be mimicked and see autoimmune autoimmune disease. Like 2.5 years ago, before that, I got diagnosed with that, and then soon after, I learned of this program being followed around everywhere I was going. So, and then everything made sense that I've been dealing with in the past. So, sense. I'm the only one in my family that has it. Yeah, I've been through a lot of stress, but I'm getting hit. I got hit with a sound weapon outside. So, um, yeah. Uh, One major difficulty is sorting out what are naturally occurring illnesses and those induced by technology. All illnesses can be mimicked and induced by electronic assaults. The TI begins to believe all pains and illnesses are caused directly or indirectly by these weapons. There are a couple problems with that. The TI will not try common medications which might alleviate the pain. And secondly, they begin to believe these people and weapons are all powerful. The practical advice for the TI is to try the obvious medical advice first, and if that doesn't work, try electronic assault shielding. This is also true with organized stalking. There are common criminals which should not be confused with government agent stalking techniques. What is the frequency? The question was asked by two TIs that beat up Dan Rather, the, the news reporter, because they believed they were being media stalked by him. They were just Manchurian candidates sent after him. Probably because he started to reveal the question all targeted individuals end up asking about the government EM bioneuroweapons. The problem is that there is no just one frequency. Full spec it is full spectrum. There are some frequencies that manipulate the human nervous system that are specific to the magnetic and electric field strength surrounding the target. There are some that related to SARS, some that related to SARS specific absorption rate. There are ultra wide frequency bands, and those that there are some that have resonance to the average size of the brain cells or entire organs. Some frequencies are used just for surveillance, and others to inject energy into the brain patterns to control them. The list goes on. The frequency question is posed incorrectly. Even Sony has four patents to use ultrasonics to manipulate perception for video games. I will give two examples in how the magnetic and electric field surrounding the target can be solved using a couple surveillance techniques and simu, simultaneous equations. I'll show that there are specific frequencies that can manipulate the human nervous system using brain function based on frequency pulses and intensity, both able to see through walls. This very common question only be understood through advanced physics. Sorry. For the simple disbeliever, you only need to look at bars you have on your mobile phone and how the telecom companies can triangulate on them. Lower the electromagnetic magnetic frequency, unique resonance and signatures. Dr. stated, how many products do you own that have RFID chips in them? You would be surprised at the answer. The brain itself is a very advanced specific encryption code, but with some generalizations of emotional cluster signatures. Only the sender and the receiver know how private key encryption with a particular cognitive model. Only the sender and receiver know the private key encryption with the particular cognitive model. Get all the cognitive models and you will have all the brain codes. For example, NASA tracks 26,000 golf ball sized pieces of space junk around the Earth's orbit. Can 7 billion unique brain signatures be tracked on Earth? Is this being done by satellites or what? That they use being called an inverse Fourier transforms allows for these calculations in real time. Holography is another term of similar concepts when computer calculated. The entire system is global. Most researchers want to point the finger at one particular entity like HARP or satellites. The problem with that data is that some of the first mind control subjects came forward right about the time the first satellite was launched in 1961, which did nothing of importance. Satellites are, of course, used for spying all over the world now, but they don't fully explain the previous capabilities of mind control and may be used now as a redundant system. HARP wasn't built until 1991. These may all play a part to expand the global mind control agenda. But it isn't the full answer. Over the horizon radar and lonosonates could also have those capabilities. They are heavily guarded. Try to point the blame on the power grids, cell phone towers, and neighbors with modified microwave oven weapons is sort of pointless in the sense these weapons are global. How and can some very interesting results which show TIs who have positive signals at locations on their body and non-TI controls with no radio signals is there and have been used in the past, but with all the MRIs and X-rays that have been done on TIs, very few find anything except for what specialists call image with nanochip and might withstand a very high electromagnetic pulse without shorting them out. Also, LSD frequencies would change under a strong magnet to inductance, and hence be would require a microchip to send and receive signals, but so far it appears to be more complex than this. Microchip theories also provide freedom for mind control and torture, behavior modification, and reprogramming. The TI finds a chip and removes it. Still, who can they sue? It isn't practical to go on that hunt. An MRI doesn't hurt anyone if you can afford one. It still hasn't provided enough evidence or relief if an RFID chip is removed. There have been many inductive and capacitive interaction frequencies. However, the use of biometrics such as brain pattern signatures and body resonance to identify and track targets are more useful for secret warfare, mind control, and interrogations. That's page 65. Psychological mechanisms for many